Hello and welcome to Tifka Magica, and thank you for joining me for another video, an exciting new video for this week. I want to say hello to all my new subscribers, and I just want to send so much unconditional love and gratitude, just overwhelmed with the response and the love that I'm receiving from this. And honestly, this is so beautiful for me to have this experience with you guys, because we're all in this together, and I know that I'm living my divine purpose and my divine truth by giving you that energy, by giving you that light, so you can find your own inner light and help you more understand the journey that you're on, the journey that you're going through, connecting to your higher dimensional heritages, connecting to the interdimensional beings, really connecting to everything that is available to us. And it's always been there, to be honest with you. It was always here. We just forgot how to tap into that, because really everything is all dimensional frequency, consciousness, energy, what you know as Christ consciousness, what many people know it as different names, but it's all here for us to tap into. And that is such a beautiful gift that we all share and we all have, because we're one consciousness, unconditional love, and we are united and we are a family. Now, obviously in the last video we talked more about my starseed experience, my journey, and how it was like for me. And what I tend to find now these days, because we all do it, when we're thinking, what kind of starseed am I? So you start googling and you look up, and you only really get like the certain signs that is kind of like the common characteristics and what you will find being a starseed. But what I find as well is that what people don't tend to really discuss is the struggles that a lot of starseeds tend to face when reincarnating on this planet, also down to issues that they sometimes face, what they have to learn about them own selves within their journey. And particularly it also depends as well, that I find, yes, it can be a matter of fact of where you originate from, because if you have a lifetime in a star system, because as I said before, where we're star seeds, and on the energetic frequency, there really is a war, but there has been war in around the star systems as well, because a lot of people don't commonly know about the Orion Wars and the Lyran Wars. There was tyranny in that time as well. We'll go into that as we go forward onto different videos, but also depending on where you originate from, because not every star seed here, when they're trying to look for their home and where they come from, they don't always resonate. They know it's something else, but they have this deep loneliness and this deep yearning of wanting to find home, but also a deep heartbreak and a deep sense of loss. That can tend to be that when it was happening, the Orion Wars, the Lyran Wars, there were some star systems that got destroyed, and a lot of those beings that were from those planets, such as the Mintaka in the constellation of Orion, a lot of beings that come from there, a lot of starseeds come from there, have a deep sense of loss and a deep sense of wanting to go home but not finding it because it got destroyed within that situation. And they'll be very drawn to water. There'll be people that connect to Lyra that had a major experience during the Lyran Wars, which could have been quite traumatic. There are many things that can occur depending on where you originate from, but these can come up within your incarnation here in this lifetime as well. And it's also very common, or not very common, but it's quite known through some of us and from my own experience, and also Dolores Cannon talks about that. A lot of Pleiadian starseeds from Pleiades, they have some level of karma with this planet as well. And let's just say with Pleiadians, they have been around this earth and they've had many interactions with people of this earth as well. So they're one of the main star system star beings that have had a lot of visitations with earth and a lot of involvement, as many as any other races as well. There's quite a few, as we know, the Anunnaki, as we know, the Syrians as well, and they had their involvement with ancient Egypt and the civilizations, because a lot of these groups were are still very involved with the development of the civilizations that we have created here on this planet, and they've been involved for a very long time. But obviously that has been kept to us to an extent, but now things are coming out more and more. But the Pleiadians, they are, well, let's just say they went through their awakening, so they're the one above us. They've kind of gone through everything as well. And Pleiades as well, majority of them were from originally the Lion constellation, because that got destroyed, and they went over to Pleiades as well so they could start again. Some came to here, and so forth and so forth. But also Pleiadians, they are very emotional, they're very loving, but again they tend to pick up on a lot of emotional baggage that are here. And from my experience as well, a lot of Pleiadians, and also not just Pleiadians, but some are people from different star systems as well, they end up incarnating into families where the main sort of theme is love, and that kind of love being that they will be in the situation in the family that they incarnate in, where again, like from my experience, there will be a very narcissistic parent or a situation where, like with myself, that I was always didn't really connect properly to my father so much because of the trauma that he went through, but I found that I didn't get that connection or that grounding that I needed. So therefore I was always trying to prove, and I was always trying to look for that love, or having to prove myself to find or to be accepted or to be loved, and it didn't really get me anywhere. All it really got me at the end of the day was going into this never-ending pattern of trying to be a people pleaser, trying to, you know, not identify, but really kind of trying to find, you know, my value by somebody else valuing me, and not finding that because the lesson was to value me. But what happens is that when we had that kind of emotional trauma, and with an emotional trauma that goes through the family line, as we talked about generational karma, then we end up, you know, thinking, well, again, we end up attracting relationships that are very narcissistic, that will be like the parent in this lifetime, that will match that vibe, will match that energy and that belief form, because we end up believing that we are only worthy of a certain type of love. So we end up trying to find it and find it and find it, and all that happens is we end up getting drained and drained and drained, and we end up being given breadcrumbs and still trying to prove and fight and tiring ourselves to an extent where there's no more energy because it's been drained. And then we realize, hang on a minute, why is it that I'm always attracting this? And it tends to be from a inner program that we have created a belief based on what we experienced in childhood. So we have to break that and find that unconditional love within ourselves, because the love that you are is a love that you will attract. And also on this planet as well, which I've noticed as well around a lot of people, we have been conditioned to, especially women as well, and some men, so it is for everyone here as well, we have been conditioned as well that in order to be happy, we need to be in a relationship. So therefore we end up creating a belief, because it's about, we end up saying, well, I can't really truly love myself fully until I find someone, and then I will be able to love myself fully. But what that does is that ends up becoming that reflection that you end up thinking that you've got that form of love, but then still having to prove that because you're fighting for that love, when the lesson is that you need to love yourself. But remember, with the universe and what we create in our own realities, we will always be reflecting our belief systems, and those belief systems end up happening in childhood. They can also carry on from previous lives as well. But again, as the same with a lot of trauma as well, with some Pleiadians and majority of some starseeds, because I see it's a common occurring thing, because a lot of light workers, starseeds and energies, well, starseeds, light workers, all energies here, we tend to go into the mistake of making, and I've done it too, and it's very common to happen with not just myself but with many other people here that resonate, that we end up wanting to, because we are very empathic and because we are very healing, and all we want to do is spread love and make things better for everyone and give joy to everyone and help them wake up to the truth that they are, because it's just part of our natural essence within that unconditional love energy to want to help and assist and to see other people grow. So we tend to want to help everyone, and we end up missing out a very valuable lesson, because there's two sides to this. We end up basically drawing in, and you'll find this a lot of empaths as well, we will get that a lot of psychic vampires or narcissistic or troubled people with a lot of troubling emotions and troubling energies will be drawn to you, and your natural self will go, well, I can help you, I just want to make you happy, I want to do everything to make you happy, and it seems all wonderful, and you think that you've totally matched. Majority of females, we end up thinking that, oh, it's our soulmate, oh, it's our twin flame, and then what happens is it ends up becoming a very toxic situation where the person keeps on draining you and draining you and draining you, and you are giving and giving and giving and giving, and you're still going around a never-ending circle. So then that ends up being a energy giveaway, so you're giving your energy and not receiving anything back, until you end up realizing that, hang on a minute, why am I putting my energy into something that does not resonate with really who I am, and this is not the true form of how it should be. Because when you are giving out a certain energy, you should receive, but what we do is we give out to the wrong energies that are not willing to give that back, and then we come to that point and say, hang on a minute, I need to have a look at where I'm putting my energy in. Why am I trying to please other people? Why am I trying to help? And then finding out that that's not actually working, and I'm losing myself more in the process. Because when you start feeling that energy of getting drained, well, you end up draining yourself, and you become so out of balance and so disconnected, and then you're trying kind of like get to a few bits of sense about what's going on, but then that energy that is the psychic vampire will then be alerted to that, because they will then feel that separation from that energy, and therefore will try everything to draw you back in, because you were a valuable source where you were giving and giving and giving, and they did not need to send anything back in return, just use it to their own advantage basically. And those people we have to send unconditional love to, but also they are our biggest teachers to have a look at ourselves about where we are choosing to put our energy. Because again, we'll bring that back to childhood, is giving and giving and trying to prove that you are worthy, when actually you need to see that own self-worth within yourself. Remember that you are an enlightened individual. You are unconditional love, and that is your true form. And when I started was going through these patterns, and I was always holding myself back for everyone else and putting everyone first, and then just feeling so miserable with who I am and not finding any inner peace within myself, and constantly people were just draining me or taking advantage of my energy and my just wanting to naturally help, until I came to realization, thought, hang on a minute, why is it I'm drawing in all the same patterns over and over and over again? I need to dig deep, because there is a belief inside me that doesn't feel like I'm worth it. There is a belief inside of me that has a belief that love is something that needs to be needs to be what is the correct word? Need to be fought for, or to be proven to prove yourself, and you don't need to do that. You are unconditional love. You are worthy. If you were not meant to be here, then you wouldn't. You are consciousness having a human experience. You are here. You are from love, and you will always return to love. And this is the experience of consciousness. And this is just the physical form. But we look at that as a lesson, and we look at that even stronger. And when we start to detach and let go and say, hang on a minute, I'm not going to be on a hamster wheel anymore. I'm now ready to move forward onto a new beginning. And then the universe says, well, okay, are you sure? Are you really ready? Because again, spiritual awakening, the universe takes our stuff pretty seriously. It will want you to get rid of all the things that do not serve you or your higher purpose. And you sometimes think as well, because again, Pleiadians and Starseeds, I know I've gone really off topic here, Pleiadians and Starseeds and, you know, light workers, Arcturians, because the list is endless. By the way, I'm going to do like another video that is going to be based on different types of starseeds and different types of star beings as well. And also we'll be doing a video as well on different more unheard of soul types, and also people that connect to elemental energies. Because remember, as starseeds, you don't just have to have an experience in one star system, you can also have another experience in the elemental realms as well, like myself, because I'm also connected to the Fae as well. But anyway, that was a bit going off topic, so don't worry, there will be other videos. No, but this is just what I'm really feeling is the most important thing to talk about now, is the problems that we face, because we come from that place of love and light, and we expect when we come here for it to be all love and light and everyone being on that same energy. I'm like, la la la, you know, remembering how it should have always been. And then we come to this planet to find out it's not entirely like that. There are unfortunately people that tend to use their own service to self for their own material and manipulative gain, and that is okay. That is a path that they are choosing to go onto, and there is no judgments against that, and that is through their own lessons and learning till they find that love within themselves, that they are united in that consciousness. But for us all here today is understanding those occurring patterns, that we come from that energy of wanting to heal and wanting to bring light to everyone. But we have to remember that we can't always do everything for everyone, and we have to put ourselves first. And that is so important, because remember, you are number one consciousness energy, and you are part of that energy, and the love that you have for yourself is what is vibrated out into the universe and what is reflected back to you. And really seeing that and what that resonates within you, and being in that state of love and bliss where you do not need to look outside of yourself to find love. You do not need to look outside of yourself to find acceptance. You are that energy, and this is it. We go on these journeys and patterns trying to tread ourselves in the hamster wheel, getting tired and tired and tired, trying to search for all these things outside of us, and all it does is show us everything that is completely not what we're looking for. Because when you have the energy of chasing something and saying, I can't be happy unless I'm proving to myself that this is this, and you're giving that energy to the universe, and all you're doing is persisting against that, and it just drives further and further and further away for you, until you realize, hang on, why am I trying to chase something outside of myself to prove myself that I am worthy to be loved? I need to learn to love myself, because I am that energy of love. And then we come into that realization. And I think as well, with awakening, and everyone's awakening journey is very different to their own experiences. You know, I'm not going to say that every journey is the same. We will all go through these, we will all go through the dark night of the soul, the releasing stage, because as you do start to awaken, and the universe says, well, okay, now it's time to deprogram and get rid of all those really, excuse my French, happy beliefs, okay, that are not in vibe with this high vibrational energy. Because my dear, you are light, and you've confused yourself to say that you are not light, and therefore the universe tries to show you that you are light, and you will probably fight against it, and the universe will fight against you too, until you say, okay, I surrender. I'm now going to let go and surrender to this, and show me whatever you want to show me. And I'm not going to say to you that it's always so glamorous, because I think a lot of people go in with spiritual awakening and starseed awakenings and light worker awakenings, because we're all starseeds anyway, but we go into it with an expectation where it's like, well, I'm turned on now, everything's magical, I am now Buddha, I'm sparkly, I walk on rainbows. Yes, it's great to have that energy, but then what happens is, well, hang on a minute, I've got a few dark bits in there, and there's a lot of stuff in the layers that I've been putting up against myself over and over and over and over and over again. And therefore the universe says, well, right, hon, but if you want to come with me, you're going to have to start peeling back those layers, because we've got to do some serious groundwork, reflection work, okay? And it does take a lot of heart release. It takes a lot of healing. It takes a lot of getting out of your own way, because we will tend to, again, not just myself, from my own experience and from everyone that can resonate this, we will tend to find every reason on the outside to blame as to why we cannot move on. And that is from our traumatic experiences that we have seen as we have grown up, as we have gone through the schooling programs that said, well, you can't be what you want to be, you've got to be what everyone else wants you to be, you can't do this, you've got to be what society expects of you. Do not live your dreams, do what your parents say is the most sensible thing, because if you want to be accepted into this community, then you need to do it how everyone else is doing it. And then you get into that 9 to 5 repetitive, day in, day out, day in, day out, completely wasting this very short but very monumental time that you have chosen to be here as a consciousness existing, and we are putting our energies into things that do not bring us joy, just this never-ending hamster wheel. And then what happens is we end up getting to the end of our lives, and then we look back and we think, I should have done things differently. I shouldn't have listened to that person that said that I wasn't good enough. I should have gone for that opportunity. I shouldn't have listened to that voice inside myself, because I really fooled myself to believing that I was useless, because everyone told me that as I was a child, thinking that I wasn't good enough. I could have achieved all of that, and I focused my beliefs based on the expectations of what I was told, and all I've done is recreate that for myself over and over and over again, like a never-ending record that is constantly broken on repeat. And my darlings, my dears, I'll be straight and true and honest with you. The patterns will only break when you decide to get off the carousel, when you start to break away from this puppet string that you have kept yourself on, because it's tiring, it's boring, and you will live your life drained, and then looking back when it's your time up, and we never know when it's our time, because, you know, from what I've learned, it can be very quick, from losing my own parents, here today, gone tomorrow, you know, and getting to that and thinking, I wish I could have done more. I want to give you all an exercise, and not just for starseeds, okay? Oh, let me go into another thing quickly, because I know I tend to jump around. Also, with starseeds and light workers and empaths, when we have those energetic traumatic beliefs that get stuck within ourselves, we then end up going into problems where we end up getting compulsive, repetitive, psychological, people call it psychological factors, but more so we end up trying to fill in an empty void that ends up being within inside ourselves, because on top of that, being completely disconnected from this world and not knowing where we fit in, and also from the experience that we're having, which is not particularly great, we end up having this empty hole, and then we end up doing things like self-sabotaging ourselves. So starseeds, a majority of consciousness energies here that are having those that have had those experiences, they can really fall into energies of addiction. They can turn into having to overeat or doing things too much, okay, because it'll be filling in an empty void to make themselves feel like a sense of escapism, or to feel that love, or to get away from that sense of trauma or energy, and to dissociate. Because what will happen is, when you go through those energetic cycles, we will find a way to dissociate, where we can feel we can soothe and comfort that inner child that is really hurt and really traumatized, and therefore we see that as a self-soother, because the ego will always not want you to really go within and break free from that chain that you have held yourself in. So it will find any way to try and distract you from going into the parts that hurt, because your sign is the parts that cause the most hurt are the ones that really need to be dig deep, that really do need to be released, and that is the inner child saying, please, I need someone to love me. And for too long, my darlings, you have been the one trying to protect that inner child from getting hurt, because nobody else will protect that inner child. So you create that defense mechanism to make sure that no one hurts that inner child ever again. But then you keep on self-soothing and self-soothing by feeding your body and your energy with these repetitive cycles of trying to, again, starseeds, we do that with a sense of escapism, to disattach, okay, because a child will disattach from trauma. We go into disattachment mode because the pain is too much, or it brings us into that emotional state. We will try to numb that or suppress that, and to really go into a state of, what should we say, that's sort of in and out of consciousness kind of state, where you don't need to face those patterns. But then what happens is we end up going into destructive cycles, we end up choosing all the wrong choices, we end up choosing all the wrong options, we end up making the, oh well, I want to get drunk, I want to get cool, I want to, you know, really go crazy and just forget about all that and just live in a different world that maybe I'm accepted. And then what happens is we end up learning that down the road it goes completely wrong for us, and we end up thinking, well, you end up, well, as you know, you end up getting trapped in that same cycle. It just ends up becoming toxic. And what I suggest is the best exercise to do within this, and I'm telling you as someone who has gone through this, who has gone through these things, who has had to face my deepest, darkest parts, that's had to face, and I still am today and on this journey as well, okay. An exercise I will do for you is it's all about healing and loving within there. Do not live yourself by other people's expectations. You go at your own pace. You do what's right for you. And you know what? If people cannot accept what you want for you, then that's okay. You send them love, and you just say, well, you can go that way, but I'm going to choose me. And if you find that you lose people because of that, then that's okay. They weren't part of your tribe. And then what will happen is, okay, when you truly start to surrender and say, I'm tired of being on the hamster wheel, and now I'm going to set myself free, because awakening is setting yourself free from the prison that you have put yourself in. You will then see the bigger picture of who you are, and then you will start to then go on that quest and that search of that truth, as you will find that even more and understand yourself even more and peel back those onion layers. Apologies about that. That is a lot of seagulls. I have no control over those noises, so I do apologize that they tend to rule the place here, so I've got no say in it whatsoever. So my apologies if this... Sorry guys, hold on. Right, they've been quiet. I can't do anything about them. They just always talk when it... There we go. Anyway, but like the onion layer, peeling away until you get to the root core of who you are, by taking off those masks and taking all the things that you have imprisoned yourself with and letting go. And then you will start to attract, when you start to go within and see the beauty of yourself, see the love of yourself, see the energy that you are, and you will attract that energy to you. Because remember, it is your beliefs, it is your heart feelings, what you know to be true about yourself, which truly resonates and gives you joy, and you say, yes, that is who I am. Because anything that gives you joy and gives you that sense of excitement, that vibrates and reflects out into the universe, and that universe will then create the reality, because you got to see it like a hologram. It's programmed. The universe will always give you what you want, whether it's bad or good. Okay, it will always will. And if you have these thoughts about yourself, it will give you those same experiences until you change that about yourself, my dears. Do an exercise where you do some inner child healing. I can also help with that as well. I do help with healing and shadow work and and helping connecting with that, you know. So I will be giving my details to help people, and also with my celestial grove, you know, it's where I am based at the moment, but I'm looking to do, you know, going more online. But I'm hoping these videos might be able to help others and to assist them as well. Is really connecting with that inner child, going into a deep, just going off, closing everything around you, even in nature, and really finding the inner child. And imagine that inner child in front of you and what that inner child would say, and learning to love that. I know I've gone into, probably we're coming up to nearly a 30-minute video at the moment, but these are very common things starseeds tend to do as well, and also light works. In fact, everyone around here. I'll go into a few more other things as well, but again, with different starseeds, from their experiences and origins as well, they can have different things and what they connect to, or find problems with connecting to certain, what is the common things you may see on Google about starseeds. But do you know what, I'm going to do another video which will go more into different types, and also going into first wave, second wave, third wave, you know. Another thing I'll say is, the more a star seed or light worker empath, the less earthly times they have had here, the less karma they have. It tends to be that first wavers tend to have had a lot more experience here on having lifetimes here on this planet. Being starseeds who have had more experience, they tend to kind of get it the worst really here. But the newer the starseed is, specifically with the newer kids that have come down with literally hardly any lifetimes here at all, oh, don't, there's something else. They're so intelligent, they really are, majority of them, just for the power that comes off them. They don't tend to have that emotional baggage or karma too much, because, you know, of what they're agreeing to come down here to, but also they don't have as much attachment to what some starseeds do as well. But I'm going to go more into that in following videos, and you know, we'll also cover as well with indigos, crystals, rainbows, so forth. Guys, I like to think, you know, that I'm a good source of information. I say there's plenty of people that are great sources of information out there. I'll say again, Dolores Cannon, fantastic. You know, I listen to, you know, Bashar, I love that man, absolutely. Go with what you are drawn to. I do notice that there are a lot of people getting into the new age thing a lot more, and some people are misrepresenting information, because I'm seeing, unfortunately, some people have taken advantage of this a bit, instead of really actually assisting or giving truth or anything like that. But what I want to say is that go with what you feel is right here for you. You know, hopefully what I say can make some sort of sense and understanding as to why we are getting ourselves into these patterns and this never ending cycle. You know, go out there and go with what you love and go with what is joyful. If you're a little bit fearful of it, then you know what, there's every reason to go for it, because comfort zones need to be broken. So if you've got that dream to be that artist, don't worry about what your family have said to you. Go with what is right here. If you dream of being a lead, if you just go with what is right and what is great for you, don't worry about what others think. Anyway, I've given you a 30-minute, so that's pretty good. Apologies for the seagulls, and I want to send you so much love and light. I also would love to have some suggestions. Please like, comment down, you know, down below if you can. You know, I'm open to everyone's suggestions. You know, what you would love for me to discuss and topics on. You know, also I can go more into my contact. You know, we'll go through this together, you know, so I hope it's really valuable. But, you know, give your suggestion, comment away, go for it. You know, I love it. And look, I want you all to have a wonderful week. Manifest. Also, we've gone through a pretty much a major full moon recently. I don't know about you, but that was a pretty emotional one. So go, just rest up, because we've gone through a pretty hard, you know, full moon. Go out, enjoy the sun. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm ginger. I get sunburned just by looking at tinfoil. Last time I got so sunburned, I made a tomato look albino. Don't, ginger girl problem. So I've got to avoid the sun, so I'm in the shade. But anyway, enjoy this beautiful weather, enjoy the beautiful time. Just go out there and be the beautiful you. Mwah. Oh yes, this dress that I'm wearing, as you know, is from Shein. Look, everything I wear now is from Shein. I love that company. But you know, down there there'll be like a little referencing. I'm always like great on promotion, but there'll be a little ref code thing I'll put in there. So you want to get a dress, or you know, get a little discount machine on me, go for it. Make yourself feel good. Why not? You're worth it. Remember, I love you. Keep sparkling and keep being the beautiful soul that you are.